Hey everybody, it's Keejchen. We're doing the 2022-23 final play testing tournament. We have a semifinals match. The winner of this going on to the championship match. So super important match between these two titans of Mage Wars. Sir Jason Crage, which looks like he's spawning in the top left there. Playing a Druid. Jason playing Druid. What? And on the bottom right here, we're going to see Keejchen. He's going to go ahead and spawn in. Let's see what he decides to do. And also playing the Druid. This is a recorded match that we received. And I do want to say Druid versus Druid match. Very interesting matchup. Very tough to work with. Mainly because of the infinite healing that tends to happen between transferring to your trees. The innate cantrip, regeneration armor 2, very strong. And of course, the original game was designed with two druids fighting, how vines work. And on the opposite side of a vine marker is a dark vine marker. So you kind of get to be the light green or the dark forest one. If you have a druid versus druid match, cool. You don't really get to see that much. And I have been playing with these two for a very long time. Keejchen, jeez, I just one of the best players in the game for sure. Jason, of course, has many accomplishments that cannot even be spoken of in this 3 seconds before we really start seeing an opening. Very typical opening that we see out of druids. Usually, you see the basic tree, maybe some sort of mana lotus, maybe a tattery, maybe some sort of mana flower opening. Rarely you see anything but economy, and that's kind of really important to keep in mind going into this game. Is that they're probably going to see two turns of just economy opening from both sides. Now, something that's been pointed out a lot is that Druid plants in particular as creatures usually low armor, high regeneration, but super efficient life wise. Where something will typically die that costs 6-7 mana. Will typically die to like a fireball or something like that. It'll sometimes take more than just that typical attack spell to kill it. And even I use fireball as an example. Well, a fireball won't kill things like a thorn lash or things like that. And all right, well, already surprising me from Jason Crage here, the Samara tree opening. This is not the typical tree you see, and it's usually actually ridiculed as just the worst tree. And on the bottom right, we're going to see the vine tree come out for Keejchen. This is the typical tree. And Tattery coming out of Keejchen as well. The only, I think, besides mine creatures, the only quick cast creature in the game. Very cool card. And he cast it down here. I guess he didn't want it to be up front. And honestly, I got to say, I don't know who wins this. Okay, but I do know the superior tree choice is vine tree. So I will put the advantage up to Keejchen right now here in the bottom right. Let's see if I can make this larger here. Get the board more on everyone's screen. Let's talk about the two different trees really quick. Seedling pods have the cantrip trait from Samara. During the deployment phase, you can cast one out of it. So you kind of get this. At first, it feels really cool because you basically get economy on economy. The only issue is that seedling pods themselves can't deploy fast. So a lot of times you're dealt with, cards basically where you have these pods around that really don't feel good because you have to save up for a certain amount of time in order to get that sort of requirement. And then it's like, well, I spent this mana casting the pod. Now I have to make up for that. Granted, I'm channeling more, but is that worth it? And of course, a lot of times you see Tattery when you see Samara tree, because you want Tattery to place the channeling attribute, or place that mana onto those pods so they can cast earlier, so you can at least have some sort of defense. If they choose to attack you or get aggressive, that you want to cast things out of and not spend out of your mage mana pool. Vine Tree, we're going to go down to one really quick. Vine Tree, of course, the very basic, if you know how to play Druid, you kind of know, basically the ability to get 2 vines You have that extra ability to reach out, and then you can deploy a creature or something from it. Very strong. Keejchen's going to cast, of course, the Mana Lotus. Very Keejchen thing to do here. He's getting his economy squared away. Remember, I said the first couple turns, usually economy. Tattery, Mana Lotus, Vine Tree. I do think that normally Mana Flower is better than Mana Lotus, but he's really going in the corner here, maybe because he doesn't quite know what Jason is doing. We're gonna watch this and see if this is worth it or not, or if the Mana Flower is better. But usually when I see this, I think timing push. They want that 3 mana for something. Otherwise, why the 3 extra mana? Otherwise, why wouldn't you just go for the infinite channel? Seething Pod. As I said before, it costs 3 mana, so you're spending 1 off this and 2 off this. So you're already spending mana basically to get more channeling, and you need 3 mana. 3 mana it is to cast something. It's interesting, right? Because I don't like Mana Lotus, but theoretically, Seething Pods are good. They'll die to an attack spell usually, but at the same time, it's like, if it takes hits, is that a big deal? Because they have cantrip? I'm not sure yet. Notice how the vines are reaching more. It's because of the vine tree, and it looks like Keejchen is going to move over to the left one and enchant Jason's Mage. Very interesting. I do want to point out that Tattery is quick, so it's interesting if that is a jinx for whatever reason. We already know because I am looking at this from Jason's perspective, but it looks like he's placing a Mage Bane onto the opponent. That's a very Dark Mage thing to do. Of course, Jason playing the Dark Vines and being a Warlock player. I'm not surprised by that. Looks like we're going to see the reveal really quick for that Mage Bane. Are we going to see a quick cast? Maybe. Yes. We see the enchantment go down. A double enchantment onto Jason's Druid. So it looks like he's enchanting himself. Okay, never mind. I was going to say super curses out of both, but enchanting himself could be Barkskin. Sometimes it is reasonable to cast Regen 2 on yourself just because you don't want to pay the upkeep. Curious to see what he ends up being here. It's kind of just a squaring away match right now. One other note about Seedling Pod is it's a little constraining as well because you can take 6 of them, but do you really need to take 6? And I say that because you can't cast 2 Conjurations in the same zone. And is spending your Samara tree to cast it in the center zone when your opponent's there, is that a good idea? And think about it in the ways of if it takes hits, it is. So you're kind of using this as like a cantrip defensive spell, but at the same time, it's really safe to ignore it because if they, don't, as long as they ignore it for a round and don't do anything about it and plan it for it later, it really doesn't do much in the moment in that sense. So it's kind of an interesting spell, and I really want to see how Jason does take advantage of this. Because I'm assuming he's not just going to run some Samara tree for just no reason, right? And we do see a Ghoul-Rot getting revealed. So there is a Mage Bane Ghoul-Rot on the Keejchen Druid. Keejchen at 1 mana damage. I'm assuming he did transfer 2 from that Ghoul-Rot, and then the tree then healed that up. You can do that because of the tree bound. If you don't know how to play Druid, basically you have a connection to your tree that life bound 2. That you can connect it. That you can transfer it there. Excuse me. So that regen 2 does matter. We're gonna go ahead and just go 1.5 speed while they do this. So anyway, going back to Seedling Pod. I used to run the Samara tree with things like Raptor Vines. You could put them in the center and try to beef it up quickly to get some, the Thorn Lashers. I think with the Mana Shard, it actually could be, you could have some cool viable options there. We have like a Tattery, Tattery here, a Mana Shard here, and then after one round it's at 3, so you could instantly spawn it. That could be like your whole economy theoretically, and it actually work out pretty well. Um, you just like cast one from here, then wait for it. But it's it kind of begs the question, like if you just have a vine tree with Tattery and the same idea, like is it just better because now you can advance faster with the vines, and then have stuff just appear on their side as opposed to having to do this whole extra step for basically something that is gonna channel up to 3 and then immediately spend the 3 that you spent. I don't know. There's definitely a big analysis of why people don't like Samara Tree. And of course, the big advantage is if you just let it channel forever, you have this sudden big advantage. Which, I mean, I would counter with just Mana Flowers. Anyway, I'll stop talking about it so much. We are going to see the Samara Tree use the Spreading Vines ability to cast a Seething Pond in the center, like we talked about. Now, he only gets 1 vine per time, so it is here. Whereas Keejchen has already advanced to his to Jason's center. We see the Thornlasher immediately come out. Remember, I was talking about the differences between the two? He has a Thornlasher immediately from his tree, as opposed to a Seething Pod, which is going to chill. And the question is, can this 3 dice thing do enough damage to kill it? Theoretically, no, but if you get another one, you could kill in 2 hits, or another one in the zone, things like that. So, I mean, again, I still think Keejchen has the advantage here. And we're going to see, ooh, I like this. Jason enchanting the opponent's tree with something, and then enchanting himself with something. Lots of enchantments going down. Very interesting Druid play here. And then we're going to go to Keejchen's main action. This could be a Reclamation on the Vine Tree. Reclamation would be interesting because it cancels out that Regenerate 2. So that means that Ghoul Rot basically gets to have an effect and not be canceled out by a transfer. So we'll probably have to see Keejchen then pick up Regenerate 2 for his Druid in order to cancel out that Ghoul Rot transfer. Druid games, they're so complicated. And it looks like we're going to see an enchantment go down onto Keejchen's Druid. So it's 2 enchantments that we don't know that's on Keejchen's Druid, and then now a Ghoul Rot and a Magebane. And then he's going to do the Healing Tree. This is one of the, and I say this not lightly, some of the bullshit that came out of the Druid Academy set that was like, holy cow, another 2 point of healing for the Druid. That doesn't have to be regeneration. So very strong tactics here from Keejchen, just making sure that he can weather the storm. And Jason is going to reveal the Reclamation here, so that does cancel out any sort of transfer he can do. But now there's another play for healing too, so this Ghoul Rot's basically nullified here from the Healing Tree. Talking about board state, the Seething Pod. Is up to 2, so it's not quite ready to actually spawn anything yet. And this one just started its first channel. And of course we have this Thornlasher here. So I want to point out that this Seething Pod here could be ensnaring Vined for 3 damage. And then we could just see a Druid walk in here. 3 dice should kill it, but if this one of these is a Bear Strength, the 5 dice will probably kill it. And that would be just devastating, because now you basically wasted this mana here and these turns, and you got nothing out of it. And this is kind of the tricky side right now for Samara Tree build, is how do you deal with this kind of aggression? And we're only at turn 4, and we're seeing, a 2 enchanted mage and a Thornlasher. So I definitely would call this aggression. Keejchen's at 3 damage. He casts 2 enchantments on himself. I'm sorry, 1 enchantment and then 1 on the opponent. So the Magebane did do 2 damage to him. He's up to 3 now. Not being able to transfer kind of sucks. And, I would question if you should transfer or not. Not yet, is my guess. But, we're going to wait. We're going to wait. so much regeneration going on in this fight. And, you know, here's the thing. You know, what do you do as Jason right now? You have these pods that aren't quite ready, and you have someone that's being aggressive. You have an enchantment on yourself, but you don't know what your opponent has. We know it's not a Jinx, so because you've casted spells. So you have some opportunity here, but, you know, do you go after the Thorn Lasher, which is passively just doing damage now? Do you go after the Healing Tree? Because it's just going to cause regeneration. But, I mean, it's 6 mana, and it's probably going to take up 2 actions to kill it. And knowing Keejchen, he probably has, like, 5 Healing Trees in it, right? Because he always goes for long game type stuff. So I'm not sure. You know, as a nature mage, I would always say bring Timberwolves. You know, a lot of people bring bears. Probably not falcons, because they're just too hard to support. But Timberwolves and Tegus and Isambila, I highly suggest when you take Druid, because they're just solid creatures, and you need that sort of mobility for like Thorn Lashers to pull stuff in, stuff like that. And you know, kind of with some archery, I kind of think you need something hardy. Keejchen is gonna go ahead and deploy a Thorn Lasher. Again, that Vine Tree, just the instant creatures is really just making it look like he just has the power on the field. How can you reach that Vine? Did he deploy one? So it was his deployment. He had one here, and just one here. He's gonna pay a mana as well. Place another one. Okay. Oh, I think he tried to place a vine over here, and he was like, "I have no way of doing that." He was probably trying to hinder his opponent. And we do see the Sealing Pod come out of Jason Crage. I get another 3 mana of just like, this is gonna happen eventually, guys. I swear. Like, it'll be great. I think that's like the Samara Tree build. It's just the it'll be great build. Just wait. And Jason is gonna enchant Keejchen's Mage. I could see that being Agony. Maybe. Curse of Weakness, which is kind of better Agony in some cases. And then looks like Keejchen is actually, instead of attacking this Seething Pod, is going to choose to try and pull in Jason's Mage. Rolls 3 dice, gets 4 damage. Do we see any reveal here? No reveal, and he does get snatched. Okay. So this is now a Druid, just chilling out with that Healing Tree and Seething Pod. Looks like Keejchen's going to attack. Wow, Druid on Druid fighting here. Are we going to see a Bear Strength reveal? Bear Strength does get revealed. Okay. Keejchen rolling 5 dice, 0 armor. Gets 2 damage. It didn't roll 5, so he rolls 2 more. Gets 0 out of that. Little unfortunate damage-wise there. So only manages to get 2 damage through. And just gonna move down 1. Seeking to spell that new spell. This one here. And just casually say it's not a big deal. That other spell was a Rhino Hide. A little brutal to see. Rhino Hide being an interesting choice. If it was a Barkskin, it would have gone back to his book. I wonder actually why he chose Rhino Hide over Barkskin for his mage. Only because, you know, Manalus is about to pop. He's at 5 mana. Curious to see what he wants to use that for. Reclamation does get cast from Keejchen on the opponent's Samara Tree. So it's going to be 2 damage around. And now Jason's looking at 6 damage. There's 2 damage constantly on that Samara Tree. Little scary when you can't transfer. Because suddenly it's 2 regeneration gone. And I do want to point out that Healing Tree did heal 2 for Keejchen. Let's actually make sure it did. There it is. So interesting round there. I mean, Keejchen basically getting a small advantage, hitting the mage, casting that Reclamation. I'm unsure how I feel about it right now, mainly because that Seething Pod, you know, 5 dice, theoretically kills it. right? And then you have this backup here, Thornlasher, that can sort of make sure that you get the kill. And even if you don't, or even if you do kill it with that punch, then you have that sort of backup Seething Pod hit. And it's interesting watching Keejchen be this sort of aggressive style, knowing that Jason's at 23 mana now, and a pod is about to pop. And I do like this play here, by the way. Seething Pod on the tree. You cast something out of the Seething Pod, so that gets put back in your book, and then you cast another pod in that zone. Do like that play a bit. And you don't even have to use a Vine because it's 0 to 1 range. So as Keejchen here, it looks like we're seeing some aggression come out of his play. I'm sorry. As Jason, you're seeing aggression out of Keejchen. I'm curious if Keejchen's going to follow that up. Will we see things like a Thorn Wall here? Not Thorn Wall, a Blitzbind Wall. And then maybe some sort of push up. And then, getting some bleeds on, things like that. I'm assuming, if I were Keejchen, that Jason's going to play Barkskin this round. And kind of the big, what do you do here with Barkskin is, you probably play a Rust to counter it. And then they're basically saying, all right, I'm paying 2 upkeep, essentially for regen 2. So you kind of have to drop it to drop the Rust, and then recast it, and it kind of becomes this weird game of, like, I'm using your quick cast to get rid of your Barkskin because I have a Rust on you. Things like that. It's sort of interesting if you don't play the Dispel game, want to go around stuff. And we're seeing Jason take his time to pick that third card. And, with Seething Pod, do you take things like Rouse the Beast? Just so you can, like, instantly use it. I'm a big fan of Rouse the Beast in nature books. I find them to be pseudo-attack spells for cheap. Let's just take Thornlasher, for instance. You're basically spending 2 mana, 1 spell point for a 3-dice snatch attack. And if it combos with other stuff, great. Upkeep is over. So let's talk about how we can keep the pressure on. Keejchen is at 17 mana. That pod, where is it? There is it. The Mana Lotus does pop. So that gives him a little bit of a jump in mana here. And so we saw him be aggressive. I'm guessing we're going to see something more. Maybe we'll see a Togura. I don't know. But what's really popular are the those 13 mana protective trees. I forget the name right now. Those are pretty good. And it looks like the Seething Pod turning into a Wall of Thorns. Okay. Well, there is no armor now on Keejchen. And we know that Rhinohide got dispelled as well. Or seeking dispelled, I should say. So Jason's pretty safe here to actually throw him through a wall. A Force Push does come out, pays 6 mana. And the cheese play. This is totally a legitimate strategy. I just always find it funny whenever the Wall Thorns play gets played. I mean, it's really good when they have low armor like this. And we're going to see a series of attacks here. Let's just see where it comes up in the end. Keejchen is at 4 starting this. 2. Another 3. Dang. This is a little harsh. 10. And 12. How many rolls is that? Ooh, only gets 1 damage on that. Okay, so it went up from 5 to 13. I mean, 8 damage for 6 mana, 1 spell point. Really good. Solid play there. And then we're going to see the Stranglevine go down. Okay. So Jason's saying, I'm going to keep you here. I don't want you to leave. I do want to point out that Stranglevine has 6 life. And Bear Strength, of course, 5 mana. Or 5 damage dice. So there is a possibility that he could take this out. With just a punch. Most people choose just a teleport, of course. But, the double punch sometimes works. We'll have to see how Keejchen wants to react to that. And other notable things. Being pushed out of this Wall of Thorns zone means that he can no longer use this healing tree this round. So unless he prepped to teleported 2, yeah, because you have to teleport 2 regardless, and then move in, that 2 healing isn't going to happen. I suppose that is the downside of Healing Tree. It looks like he just going to attack the opponent's tree. Okay. Sprayer Barbs goes down. Double Strike Piercing 2 attack. 2 damage on the first roll. Another 2 damage going through. Damn. And I do want to note that Jason did transfer some damage over to this tree here. So Reclamation did take its effect. And, I mean, it's at 12. It's at 6 out of 12, so half dead. And we're going to see Keejchen target the tree again. Another Sprayer Barbs. This shouldn't kill it. It rolls, especially when you roll all blanks. Okay. And the second one rolls 3. So it's at 9 out of 12 now. And just notably, it can't, of course, heal because of Reclamation. So it is, in that sense, healing, but it's just canceling out damage. So Jason has to kind of decide, like, do I take 2 damage off that and hurt my mage? And maybe it'll take up another attack spell or 2. You know, with this Stranglefine, you know, being affected now, he can't go up and punch it. So, I mean, you know, as Keejchen, you probably want to prep a teleport just to get rid of this thing. And, you know, as Jason, what do? Do you teleport past Force Push to go through again into the Healing Tree? Just some very interesting choices here. Silly Pot at 3 channel, or 3 mana, ready to pop something as well. Jason at 15 mana here. Keejchen at 19 mana. It looks like Keejchen's up to 18 damage because of that Force Crush. This Magebane Ghoul Rot really adding up over time. This is like a Dark Fiend elf. When you do all these curses and stuff. And Stranglevine, it just feels very dark to me. Love the plays here. And let's see. Let's see that. Plinking away. Looks like Keejchen is going to transfer 2 damage. To the Vine Tree. Which is a really smart choice. That puts him down to 18 damage now out of 34. And the tree, of course, is starting to add up here. It looks like Keejchen's saying, hey, I didn't do Tattery. Says, go for it. Very good sportsman-like there. And, yeah, so really interesting match. Let's just talk about Keejchen's position here. That Stranglefine is going to start adding up soon. He's at that, you know, over half damage situation where being at 0 armor means you could just die. I mean, just straight up. Especially when your opponent has 15 mana, you know, we might see Boulder Rock. Spray of Barbs has been very popular with nature mages. There's other rows doing some Spray of Barbs action here. Out of this Seedling Pod, I mean, if I were Keejchen, I would predict that something's going to come out here. Although I don't know what it would be that's going to be effective. He's going to have to spend some serious mana if he actually wants something good out of there. And a part of me kind of like smells blood here if I were Jason and be like, maybe I should just focus you down. Like you have no regeneration. Your tree is a finite resource right now. You know, what do you do here? I guess. I'm just gonna drink some tea here while Keejchen plans. So, okay, we know what that other curse is now. My bad. I did not mean to reveal that, but that is a brilliant play out of Jason here, having the rust on him. And you know, as Keejchen, you know, do you go regenerate thinking that he might just have finite life on you? And the fact that we know it's a rest now. I mean, as Keejchen, obviously, that's going to be one of those, like, regen 2 is useless. I better go up to 2 armor. You reveal a bark skin, it's going to be one of those 2, I suppose. Man, this is just a weird play here. Just gonna fast forward a little bit. I'm not sure how long they're gonna take to plan. Okay, cool. And we do see out of Keejchen, he's gonna take out the Thorn Lasher. So a 3 Thorn Lasher thing. This could easily turn to just a train here. And out of Sir Jason, he's gonna use one of his Seething Pods, spend 4 extra mana to get a Vine Snapper. Vine Snapper. Interesting. A Vine Snapper here could probably just die. The regen 1, I mean, these 3 lashes. Granted, there's a healing tree here, but I predict they're just gonna just take their little vines and just slowly pick them apart. Keejchen does use his quick cast. He's gonna cast a Wall of Thorns to block out the enemy mage. This is a really smart move out of Keejchen because it is his initiative to make sure he just doesn't get attack spelled down. Jason is at 9 mana. This does give Jason an opportunity to sort of reclaim this whole area for himself. Vine Snapper from Keejchen is going to attack that Vine Snapper. Thorn Lasher is going to attack this Vine Snapper here, doing only 1 damage on 3 dice. A little unfortunate there, because you really want that dice to add up. I'm sorry, this isn't Jason's healing tree at all. This Vine Snapper is pretty much screwed. Sorry, maybe not that dramatic. Keejchen's mage enchants himself with something. My guess is Barkskin. And oh my goodness, Jason's going to move through his Keejchen's Wall of Thorns. We're going to see the reveal. Are we going to see any sort of armor get revealed here? No armor gets revealed. Wait, maybe right now. He has the mana. Takes 1 damage. He's just eating it. Oh my god. Jason's just eating a Wall of Thorns play. What? He really wants to get whatever he has here done. So, okay. Interesting. Of course, moving through this wall, that's a full action. Jason going up to 17 damage. I can't believe this. And it looks like he's going to enchant Keejchen's mage. I'm sorry, I keep putting my mouse over it. It's just a force of habit. Poison Blood, we know. Oh, this is going to be a scary upkeep for Keejchen. Vine Snapper, doing a little bit more work. Oh, 3 dice rolled, only getting 1 damage. So unlucky for Keejchen here. This should be at 6 out of 10. It's only at 2. That is just so unfortunate. And yeah, we're going to move on to the next phase. Let's see what happens during upkeep. Let's see what Keejchen reveals here. I'd love if there was a Barkskin and he pays for it and then a Rust gets revealed. It'd be so cool. Jason's thinking about upkeep. He's at 10. He's going to be at 17 channel. Keejchen is going to reveal the Barkskin in response. So 2 mana spent. Jason is in response going to pay 3 mana and reveal the Poison Blood. That's 17 out of 8 and 18. This is such a close match. We do know that he has the Rust on him, so that Barkskin is going to be totally useless. But now he has to think about that mana and how he wants to use that 4 mana he has left. Sorry, I misspoke on the mana earlier. Keejchen at 7 mana. And of course, there's going to be an upkeep for Stranglevine, which just keeps going up. Ugh, so brutal. This is kind of the trap of Stranglevine. Is as long as you feel like you can mitigate the damage, it essentially is doing nothing. And then when they pay a bunch of upkeep, you go, okay, I guess I will now just teleport out. So that, you kind of wasted a bunch of mana on something that's essentially doing nothing. But I gotta say, Jason is playing this correctly, this Stranglevine, in terms of making it very difficult to want to keep the damage on. Or to teleport out or something like that. I guess Keejchen also doesn't know if there's still a Nullify on him, right? No, we saw the Barkskin, so he knows. It's something else. Okay. There's a lot going on in this game, so excuse me if I'm just talking through it all. Looks like the Samara tree is going to go up to 9 damage. Jason is going to heal off that, going 15 out of 34. And just like that, What are we gonna see here? Is Keejchen gonna do it? Keejchen sets his damage counter -2. From what? I see 1 damage on this tree. There is a reclamation. This Tattery is healing it instead of actually channeling. That's really interesting, actually. I guess I never really thought of Tattery like that, but the heal damage is actually really important. Major props there, because that's sort of like pseudo counters this reclamation play, and it just gives you another source of healing. Very interesting, huh? I mean, I've always thought Tattery was okay. Just because it moves around, it could be a damage structure, things like that. And of course, you kind of pay 1 extra mana over a mana flower just to do the same thing. But the fact that it can heal is really giving nice advantages there for Keejchen. And we're just going to fast forward a little bit. Don't want to go faster in gameplay, but if they're going to take a long... Yeah, we're at times 25 and they're taking a while. Okay, they just got through upkeep. The Crush token does 2. Keejchen is going to pay the 2 upkeep. So one of the advantages of Barkskin is you choose your order of upkeep. So you can choose to regenerate 2 and then not choose upkeep, which oftentimes is what you do. Of course, you don't have regenerate here because there's Poison Blood. But I do find it interesting that he chose to pay the upkeep, because it's one of those, you're not getting the healing off it. So as Jason, I would think he's going to try to counter my Poison Blood. And typically you do that with a Purify, which you could also get rid of Ghoul Rot with at the same time, because they're both poison. Or you try to do a Remove Curse, which gets rid of Magebane, Ghoul Rot, and Poison Blood. And Keejchen being at 15 mana, I don't think he can do all that. 6-8. No, he can't do all of that. But, you could still do something like Ghoul Rot and Poison Blood, which isn't a bad choice. But I do want to point out, as speaking from Jason's perspective then, can he teleport then? So, I mean, I guess one of your best bets is probably just remove the Poison Blood, teleport out so the Stranglevine doesn't keep killing you. I'm not sure yet. And I'm sorry, I messed up earlier because it wasn't through the channel phase. Jason's at 14 mana. Keejchen at 15. That does give some interesting options here. Excuse my movement of the camera. And looks like oh my god, this is a brilliant play. He chose not to pay the upkeep for the Stranglevine, so therefore making him loose. And then he chose to force push his opponent. So I guess I double click this into this. They chose to force push his opponent, making him go through this wall. He's hoping to kill him right here. He reveals the Rust to counter that Barkskin. Oh my god. 0 armor. Rolls 10 dice. That's what you do. And gets 8 damage. Putting Keejchen up at 26 out of 24. 0 armor. But a free Keejchen. And I do want to point out it's a little scary too, because now Keejchen could just kind of walk away. And he's going to choose to do that. He's walking away. Doesn't want to take that Vine Snapper. I was going to say, isn't it? It is. It is Jason's initiative. So I would guess that he's going to use this first. Okay, but it is quick cast phase. So he chooses to force push himself away. Interesting he took a force push and not a teleport. I guess that was because Jason didn't pay the upkeep. And I missed that. Which I'm sorry. Main actions phase. Jason's turn. You know he's just going to run too. Because Keejchen is a player that will run and heal up, which is a very smart play. Vine Snapper is going to attack this tree. It theoretically kills it. It rolls 1 below. A little unfortunate there. That would have been a really cool play if it one-shot it. Not necessarily that big of a deal, though. And this Vine Snapper's going to deal some damage here. I'm guessing this thing is dead. Not this round, but next round. Rolls 3 dice, gets 5 damage. I mean, it should be dead this round, to be honest. This thing could very well die now. 3 more dice coming in. 3 more, 9 out of 10. Harsh. It's so harsh. And this thing's probably going to win here. He's going to choose to enchant his mage. Remove curse. Okay. How much is he going to pay here? So poison blood for sure. And mage bane. They're both doing 2 damage around. Or preventing 2 and then dealing 2. Really cool choice. The Ghoul Rod's probably being targeted, and now there's a Rust. Ooh. Keejchen has some major healing up to do if he wants to make it back in this match. Keejchen's at 28 out of 34. Jason at 15 out of 34. And here comes the last Vine. It does take out this Vine Snapper. It was in such a bad position to actually work out there. And, you know, again, like, we'll talk about it later, but that's really a Samara tree problem. All right. And we're going to go into upkeep. There is going to be a 2 damage, and then Barkskin regen 2. Then there's going to be a Reclamation 2 damage, healing 2. I'm guessing Keejchen is going to transfer 2 damage over to that Vine Tree. Let's talk about Jason's side. Seething Pod, ready to pop. It's between 2 walls, though, so it can't really do that much. Over here on this Seething Pod, just chilling. This Seething Pod down here, 4 mana. So you get a little bit of a nice little channel thing. Ready to pop. Looks like there's a card in there right away. And then, of course, we'll see another Seething Pod come out of this Samar tree. Probably, well, it can't replace it because there's no targeting. I'm guessing it's going to go here. And it looks like Jason sets his damage counter to -2. Did he transfer 2 damage to this? There is still a Reclamation here, so we'll see this go up to 9. Harsh. Again, that Tattery would be so good on this side for that healing. What a weird Druid match. I don't think I've ever seen a match quite like this. Mainly because you only see one Druid, but Druid versus Druid has these like cool dynamics. that was a really cool round there. I bet you Jason wished he dealt average there, that 5. So he was going to deal the 5, and then he was hoping to get that bite off. But Keejchen prepped a force push, which I'm guessing he wanted to force push himself up during quick cast, so he didn't. So he knew that he was going to be pushed through here. So Keejchen probably just prepped it properly. Is really what it sounds like from here. Okay, we're going to see what comes out of here. And I guess Keejchen has some choices to make. He's at 26 out of 34. That tree going up to 3. We talked about that earlier. Jason's at 13 out of 34. No regeneration yet. Would love to see some more regeneration here. It feels like both of these mages are probably going to back off. But, you know, as Jason here, like, do you get aggressive and try to take control of this whole side of the board? I'm guessing that's what you want to do. You could also move over Poison Blood, things like that. A lot of players, not a lot, some players I've talked to in the AD squad just say, oh yeah, run Deathlock in every book. And it's because of these situations where you're at 13, they're at 34, 26 out of 34. This tree has some life, but is getting 2 damage around. Like, taking Deathlock kind of means that you have this advantage to sort of maybe get some attack spells in and win. But, you know, as a nature mage, I was kind of talking about how Rouse the Beast is kind of like an attack spell. It's usually because you have a lot of creatures in your book as well. It's kind of interesting to see what Jason's going to do here. I have liked Jason's play a lot. I'm just not sure if he's going to be able to close this out. Now there's this like gap between the two mages. Let's go ahead and skip past this. Go to times 25 where they plan. All right, so looks like we have a vine reaching all the way over to Jason's tree side. That tree's now at 11 damage, by the way. It looks like it didn't transfer that damage over. Another Mana Lotus out for Keejchen. Interesting. Having another Mana Lotus. It means he's going to want to spike in mana for some reason. I'm guessing he didn't have anything else to cast, by the way, so we just chose a Lotus. The Leather Helmet comes out for Keejchen. Getting a little bit of armor. I do like this play with the Wall of Thorns being everywhere and a Rust being on you. And Keejchen's just going to back off. This is initiative. It makes total sense. I'm guessing we're going to see some sort of, I don't know. You could cast a Life Tree, I guess. He might just chill. I'm sorry. I got that totally wrong. He wants to get rid of the Ghoul Rot, which I totally expected him to want to do. It's not surprising at all. Ghoul Rot is a great spell to get rid of. So now he's going to regen 2. Eventually he'll be back up to good health. This Tattery is going to heal it 1 damage a turn, because again, the cancellation. And Jason's just saying, take your turns. He's only got one thing. We didn't see a Seedling Pod cast anything. What? And it looks like we're going to attempt to take out this Wall of Thorns here. 5 damage going through. I love this, like, sneaky play where you plan both cards here, saying, like, attack one of them. You know you can. That's cool. And this is going to be a dead Wall of Thorns. Opening up this avenue here. Little curious what he wants to do here. Does he want to cast something here? Or is he just taking out because it's not his walls? And again, Tattery. Doing that heal option on the Vine Tree. Very cool play here. Jason's Druid's going to move 1. Teleport 2. Whoa, hang on. There is a Rust. And then a chance to the opponent's Druid. Oh boy. Okay. Reveals Poison Blood immediately. Yeah, it's there's no point in holding it because what do you do? Reel it during upkeep? Like, what's the point? Okay. Interesting. Another Poison Blood. This chase is not over yet. That 6 mana teleport. Pretty harsh. Gonna take a pop shot at this guy. Doing 2 damage. I mean, he might get lucky and kill it with 3 dice. But, you know, you don't expect to. That's going to be a 5 mana. This one at 4. That's going to regen 2. I mean, so that is one of the advantages of not having initiative, is that you know you're going to get your last quick cast in. And that was well done with the Poison Blood. Looks like Keejchen still is afraid of dying, which makes total sense. He puts his life down to, or damage down to 24. Transferring 2 of that to the Vine Tree. We're going to just get past the upkeep really fast so we can analyze why they plan. And this tree is going to go up to 11 damage. Just 1 away from dying. Not wanting to kill it, of course. That would be detrimental. 5 mana on this, 4 mana on this. These two are actually producing good mana results now. Looks like this Metallo is a little way from dying. Or not dying. Well, kind of. And I'm guessing these Thorn Lashers are just going to try to play a train game. Seeing if you can get the Druid. Moving it along. They could also just go after the Seedling Pod. Just to try to clear the board out of them. It's free damage either way. And Keejchen has a lot of good moves with these Thorn Lashers. And I think it's pretty predictable what you want Keejchen to do here as Jason. You know, he's going to get rid of the Poison Blood. If he has another remove curse, that would be a way to get rid of that Rust as well. Which he might. You might just see it dispel as well. But, you know he's probably going to spend 1 quick cast doing that. So the question is Jason going to keep up with that and keep casting it? Or is he going to say, I think I can kill you here. You know, I have 17 mana. You're at 1 armor because of the leather helmet. I mean, maybe... Ugh. Maybe he can move one and Boulder Rock for, what would that be, 6 and 4 damage? That'd be 10. That would do it. Accounting for that 1 armor. You know, at the same time, like, is Jason, instead of doing the attack spell finish, is he going to play the less risky play, cast bigger creatures here? Out of these seedling pods? And, you know, as Keejchen, you're kind of trying to have your creatures do the work here. So really, I think, you know, getting rid of the poison blood, maybe putting on living armor or something like that would be a good choice here. Just so you can start regenerating and getting more armor to just deal with the double attack spell thing. I'm guessing with Keejchen, though, like, even going up 1 armor means that he won't die this round. He might just get himself away. I don't know. Like, Jason's in such a good spot here that we don't really know what he's planning to do. Like, is he just going to do sustained damage with Poison Blood? Are we going to see Mogulrats to sort of eke out a little bit more damage? I mean, even things like a Mage Bane sort of lets you just gets a little steady more damage there. We see Symmetry. Does cast the Seething Pod. And this Seething Pod turns into another Wall of Thorns. And I didn't talk about this earlier, but Seething Pods does have an advantage over Vine Tree in that it casts 1 plant creature. And things like Wall of Thorns, they're not vine creatures. And you can only cast vines out of your opponent. So that is one of the advantages of Seething Pods, is you get those free walls down. Tanglevine going down. This is a really cool move out of Vine Tree, though, is the instant immobilization during deployment, not even giving them a chance to react. Saying, your mage is going to be here, and basically Jason's saying, well, you're stuck. I'm not letting you move that way to the left. It also means that, you know, there's a threat there. Looks like Force Crush from Jason's going to get revealed. Oh my god, we haven't seen Force Crush since Fatigue Force Master came out years ago as a strategy. Love seeing this, the immobilization on both sides. Drew's going to then pay 2 mana and enchant himself with something else. Keejchen, the enchantments on this mage are insane right now. Force Crush, of course, being the expensive Stranglevine, but you can't just teleport out of it. Oh, this is great. So 2 more damage is going to be added up. So really talking about that, there is... Let's wait until the other round to really judge it, because I'm guessing we're going to see some other things. Thorn Lasher is going to attempt to attack Jason's Druid. It is Tanglevined, so there couldn't be a pull. And then there's going to be 3 damage because Jason has 0 armor. It's missing. It's just literally just no armor. Okay. What a crazy game. I mean, in the cases where there's 0 armor like this, the 3 dice add up really fast over time. And when you're looking at about half damage compared to life, I keep doing this, I'm sorry. You know, 16 out of 34 now. That can really kill you. And I will say that he didn't roll a pull with this. That is kind of one of the things that Tanglevine kind of messed up here. Is if he got the pull, he could have gotten the pull, could have gotten the pull. But he didn't, so whatever. Keejchen putting on pants. Again, this is, you know, a lot of ways you got to think about armor as just, they're damage reducers, right? So the more dice you take, the better they are. From different targets, anyway. More dice you take from different targets. This Soothing Pod's going to get hit. It's going to roll 4 dice, 4 damage. This one takes 4. Interesting, he's spreading it out. And then we're going to see the Spreading Vines targets the thing. Gets the Corrosive Orchid. Love this play. Corrosive Orchid then teleports that. Not teleports, but you know what I mean. Gets cast from the Spreading Vines. And immediately is going to roll 1 damage. Does get the Corrode. And are we going to see the marker go away here? He's got only 1 mana, so he can't. That's fine. But the Force Crush in there means he's not leaving that zone. So he just got to deal with this. That's fun. Did you use a Vine? He did. Beautiful play here out of Jason, getting this corrosive orchid. You know, it's unfortunate he couldn't pay for the removal, but now that means Keejchen maybe can't put on a belt or something like that. And this is such a bunch of problems here for Keejchen. 25-34, 16-34. Let's jump past the upkeep so we really know all the totals. There's just so much going on. I want to see other decisions before. Okay. Holy cow. Let's talk about this situation here. Jason is going to pay the 4 mana for Force Crush. Very cool play there. Canceling out any sort of transference of damage to this tree. Which I'm guessing he's going to want to transfer. Let's see if he did or not. Looks like he is going to choose to transfer that damage, setting his damage down to 23. And the Force Crush is going to deal 2 damage. So he's at 25. Not sure where he took that extra damage from. Oh, no, he's at 23. Then 25. Ha, math. It's been a long day, okay? I did so much basic math yesterday. Just all day. Just imagine all day basic math. It drains you, okay? Like, I'm not talking like an hour or two. I'm talking 10 hours of basic math yesterday. Anyway. Going on to this. So let's talk about the situation here for Keejchen. You have a non-curse, so you can't get rid of it from a remove curse. Force Crush happening. That's just dealing 2 damage to you around. You want your Bark Skin to be working to regenerate 2 to cancel that out. But there is a Poison Blood on you as well. And that Poison Blood is basically ensuring that you're slowly dying. When you're 9 away from death, and you only have 1 armor, that is scary. Your opponent only has 7 mana. So, you know, you're not going to see anything too crazy attack spell-wise. But still, you know it's going to happen soon. Corrosive Orchid, this is a beautiful card right now. Because basically, Keejchen has 10 mana, and you want to get away from this. So, do you spend 9 mana to dispel this, and then move to the right one? That's probably your best bet, right? So you don't take this corrosive thing. If you choose not to dispel it, you could choose to also teleport, and then you just don't take the corrosive damage, but I'm not sure if that helps you in the long run. If you choose not to dispel that Force Crush, though, and you stay in the zone, you risk the 2 more damage, plus possibly another corrode. And if you don't get the corrode, they're probably going to use the 2 mana to get rid of one of your leathers, putting you down to 0, which means Sir Jason Crage could just win with the attack spell. Crazy. And it looks like Jason's actually going to turn one of these Seedling Pods into a Mana Flower. That is interesting. He's paid no mana, because that Seedling Pod had 5 on it. Very interesting here. Is that a BM play? I don't actually know. Maybe he wants to pay for the Force Crush with the Mana Flowers. Anyway, regardless of that, Keejchen is going to choose to not deploy anything. And then he's going to lesser teleport. So he's doing that teleport thing I mentioned. Paying 2 mana. He's not going to take this corrosive orchid damage. I do like this play with lesser teleport. It did get him out of this bind. Granted, you could see Jason just teleport 2, I guess. That's a lot of teleports, actually. We're probably not going to see a teleport to Force Push or something like that. Not even Force Push. It has to be a teleport. So that Force Crush is kind of preventing this corrosive orchid, but it may not actually even be a big deal. And I do want to point out, Jason could have another... Is there a token down here? There is not. I don't think there is. I'd love to see another token down here. And then just corrosive orchid this zone. But regardless, I have to wait and see here. Vine Tree's at 4 damage. And we're going to see the pinging damage from this. Again, there's 0 armor on Jason. So this is going to deal full. When I say full, I mean 3 dice rolling 6 damage. All normal. 6 damage getting on Jason. Putting him up to 22. Oh my. This could just be a race of just... Okay, we're almost both dead. Who can win here? Now, I want to point out here that the Thorn Lasher having 0 to 1 gives you this advantage over the Corrosive Orchid because he can just reach. They're both, restrained in some sort of way. Thorn Lasher dealing 2 damage to the Sealing Pod. This Thorn Lasher probably going to kill it. 3 dice getting rolled. 2 damage. Oh my god, so lucky here. 2 damage getting rolled on 3 dice twice, meaning the Sealing Pod's at 5 or 4 out of 5. It's gonna be a 5 mana. He's just gonna cast it and be like, I guess I'll just cast this. I don't know what else to do with it. Jason is gonna reveal a bear strength. He's gonna attempt to literally with the strength of a bear, just sort of 1-inch punch every bit of vine on him. Have you ever tried punching a tree or something? I'm sure it is very painful. These are thorns. Imagine the force of a bear against your body. Just saying, that's bear strength. Ouch. He doesn't actually hurt himself. But this Tangle Vine is going to be at 4 damage. Out of 8. And very interesting round here. This Thorn Lasher might actually win him the game. Casting. So he's going to cast a spell here. Double enchant. Or no, I'm sorry, not double enchant. Dispersing. What is he going to disperse? He targets bear strength, but he's not dispersing that. Poison blood. Ah. Yes. That makes sense. Ooh, this Forest Crush. I'm not sure how I feel about this Forest Crush right now. Okay, so let's talk about this really quick. In an earlier game that I didn't cast, we saw a fatigue style that used Force Crush, which has been around for a while. And there are tactics to get out of that. But it's very interesting seeing Jason take it here because it's not in school. And the upkeep 4 is pretty harsh. And the fact that you're paying upkeep 4 essentially now to cancel out his regrowth, which he's paying upkeep 2 for, but I guess to restrain. But is that restraining actually worth anything right now? Because he's back here. He'd have to move forward. I'm unsure if this Force Crush is worth 4 upkeep right now. And I guess the only way that I would feel comfortable continuing taking this is literally because you don't want him to start to win the damage race. So, it's so harsh because Ghoul Rot basically does the same thing. And it's a one and done. Whereas this, you're paying such an inefficient amount of mana just to deal such a small amount of damage. And this thing is dealing 2 damage, right? And you're paying 4 upkeep. This Thorn Lasher just dealt 6 damage. You paid 7 mana for it a long time ago. And it's just chilling. It's just a very interesting comparison there on how this is going to work out here. Let's go ahead. Let's get past the upkeep really quick. I do want to see if they want to pay for it or not. I just talked about why you would or wouldn't want to pay for it. Let's see if they actually do. And it looks like Jason is going to pay the 4 damage here. So 2 more damage. So that's going to cancel out the Bark Skin regen. Putting Keejchen at 23 out of 34. Jason at 22 out of 34. Are we going to see a transfer? Did we see a transfer? Yep. We did see a transfer here. 2 damage going over to the Vine Tree here. So that Reclamation dealing 2 damage. This Vine Tree is now at 6. This is exactly what Druids want to use their Vine Trees for. And that is this slow sort of like battery of extra damage that he can have. And, even though it only has 12 life, it's so valuable here. Like, Keejchen being at 25 and 34 versus 23 and 34, that could mean the game when it comes to looking at an opponent that has 11 mana. Because even things like a teleport here for 6 mana, followed up by a rock, and then followed up in the next turn with another rock, things like that, that could add up. And you just want to slowly sort of accumulate that sort of thing. I will say it is a little scary, though, because he could actually kill this Vine Tree. It being at half damage, 2 armor. And And, killing it means that the Druid goes down to 30, which is damage in itself to him. So not only do you get the barrier damage there, but you also lose life on top of it. So, I mean, thinking about Jason, if you want to get aggressive or not, your target here is really interesting versus the Druid. And, of course, there is a Tangle Vine here. I'm guessing Jason is going to just punch it. It seems like what he did last time. I don't know if that's the right play. Because I don't like this idea of just free damage without armor. I would also love to see Barkskin. Just straight up Barkskin. Because he needs that regen 2, and he needs the 2 armor. I do want to point out that the minute that he gets out of this, he needs to be in one of these 2 zones. If he's in this zone, he risks the 3 dice this way, 3 dice this way, 3 dice this way. And now he's suddenly way out of here, and Keejchen can just regen up, and the game's pretty much over then. Notice these players are taking a long time. I do not blame them for taking this long to plan, because all the things I'm describing are very big factors. Assuming Jason does have another teleporting here, then moving 1 and punching the tree or punching the mage, both very valid options to get you out of here. Now, I would think Keejchen might plan a force push or something like that, just in case that happens, but we're going to see. Interesting. Keejchen casts a Raptor Vine. Jason casting a Mana Flower. This feels a little trolly. I'll talk about it later, but it feels a little... I don't like this play here. But anyway, Raptor Vine, one of my favorite plants. The 5 dice Vampiric, it's really low on actual life, but it tends to be a great support creature that you cast later. It's only 9 mana, and 9 mana for 5 dice is ridiculous. And remember what I was talking about, how Rouse the Beast is very good? This is a very good Rouse the Beast option. It's more efficient rock, I like to think of it as. Looks like Keejchen is going to... By the way, the Mana Lotus getting revealed. Not revealed, used. Putting Keejchen up mana. Yeah, he's just gonna wail on this. Wail on this flower, I guess. Okay. I mean, it makes sense. He basically turned into a 5-life pod into a flower. Are we not? Oh, yeah. Okay, we're not actually auto-scrolling. I bet. That's why I'm, missing this. I'm like, what is happening here? Okay, so this Mana Flower did get destroyed by just the assaulting vines everywhere. It looks like Keejchen... I'm sorry, not Keejchen. Jason is going to cast the Vine Snapper into Keejchen's zone. Beautiful play here. I love this play. Healing Tree does get revealed for Keejchen. It is going to start healing his mage up. The second Healing Tree. This card is so... it's a dastard card. And that means Jason's going to really have to think about how he's going to deal with this play. Do love the Vine Snapper play here. Excuse my coughing. Oh my god. And this is sort of this zone of you need to control it. Jason choosing to enchant his mage. Barkskin is my guess. It could just be regen 2, but the fact that there are Thorn Lashers here speaks to me that it's going to be Barkskin. And I do want to point out that going into the next round, 13 mana for Jason. It is just going to be a normal regrowth for Jason, paying 4 mana. And again, you don't have to pay the upkeep for Barkskin. So the regen 2 just happens. He needs that life right now. I would argue he needs 2 armor as well, but maybe he's got other plans for it. I don't know. He's going to add 1 damage to the Vine Tree, so not choosing to regen it fully. Interesting. Okay. Let's go. Let's just skip past this really quick. Just because I want to see them go through upkeep. Okay. Let's take a look at this. So, we still don't know if he wants to pay for Barkskin or not. Jason is going to choose to pay the 4 mana. So he is going to choose to put that damage on. And then Keejchen's going to choose to pay 2 mana to keep Barkskin. Force Crush Barkskin, all staying on the opponent's mages, is a stuck Druid. As opposed to the teleporting unstuck Druid, I guess. Let's talk about this really quick. Everything that's happening here. Vine Snapper is a really cool choice here. Vine Snapper basically is a zone control card. That's how I like to think of it as. If you want to control a zone, you get 1 or 2 of these guys, and they will just chomp everything up. It's great to put in the back. If you, let's just say there was a Battle Forge instead of this Mana Flower. You put a little chomper here, he'll take care of it. He'll just slowly take out stuff. They're great for the middle zones, especially with Thorn Lashers, because you just combo the damage, the snatch with the 5 dice. I love this play here, because it ideally just Vine snaps this Vine Tree here. It doesn't kill it, of course, but, I mean, 5 dice piercing 1, it's gonna add up over time. This Healing Tree, it'll theoretically one-shot this Healing Tree, which would be a huge detriment for Keejchen, because now he has to spend mana making sure he has a Healing Tree up, because I'm assuming he has 6 in his book. It'd be so funny if he did. You know, the interesting choice, I guess, here is because Jason's only at 5 mana, because that upkeep is really costing him here. Man, Force Crush is just brutal. You know, do you teleport 1, and then you got to move to 1, and then risk this? Oh man, he needs to get rid of this Tanglevine, and he can't. Time definitely feels like it's running out. Notice the Samar Tree waited for 3 mana here in order to cast, because Jason doesn't have the mana to keep up his tree. There's like definitely a mana issue here happening with Samar Tree. Seedling Pod getting cast into Keejchen's zone. Again, he's trying to just control this zone here. I mean, it's a free Seedling Pod. Now you gotta wait 3 turns. This game might be over in 3 turns based on the damage count. But I mean, it's something here to just say, like, if the game does keep going, I'm gonna get something here, so deal with it. Nothing getting cast off Vine Tree. The reordering is happening, making sure everything's on the board, splitting down the center here. Let's just see what's going to happen here. Keejchen passes first quick. We do see the living armor coming down. Very powerful spell. Getting up to 3 armor can be ridiculous. So now he has the regen 2 and 2 to 3 armor. Basically a Barkskin, but longer game focused. Healing Tree is gonna win Keejchen this game. Healing him 2, putting him at 18 out of 34, almost down to half. We are going to see the Raptor Vine uproot itself, scurry on over. 5 dice going through. Rolling 7 on the 5 die attack. It does have no piercing, so 5 damage going through. That living armor, of course, tinking down a little bit. And then we're going to see Rust come through. That is going to cancel out any of that living armor. That Rust has been on him the whole game, I swear. And here we are. It's finally taking advantage. Very cool. Because, I mean, Jason basically hasn't cast any armor, which is kind of interesting, actually. Keejchen's going to set his channel down 2, and he is going to enchant himself with something. And then we see the Maw going down against this living tree. I'm sorry, not living tree. Vine Tree. He rolls 6 damage, putting up to 11. I do want to point out that would have one-shotted the Healing Tree. Whether or not you think that was a good choice, it's up to you. Thorn Lasher does take its action here. Interesting he chose to do this, because now that gives... well, Jason's at 1 mana. It won't. 2 damage going through. Losing that armor. And this is kind of the disadvantage of living armor over, say... I don't know, the other nature armor is that you have the potential for more armor, but it costs you mana over time. And Thorn Lasher's doing just that. Other Thorn Lashers just taking out things randomly that'll probably be regenerated. Thorn Lasher rolling another 3 dice, getting 3 damage on this Wall of Thorns. Jason's gonna punch the Raptor Vine. Interesting. Rolls 5 dice. Gets 7 damage. Very nice damage here. And I mean, he could just punch it again and kill it next round. It will be his initiative, so it does make sense. That's a little unfortunate because he has this Tangle Vine that he's not getting out of. This might have cost him the game. I mean, punching the Raptor Vine lets me know that he's not going after Keejchen. So my guess is Jason wants to take out this Tangle Vine, hopefully try to make his way back here, and regroup. Because, I mean, look at the offensive strength of Keejchen right now. He basically has these 3 dice guys. It's not really that much. Oh, man. I would have loved for him to take out this Tangle Vine. Then, on his initiative next round, which it is right now, move over, and then either curse or attack spell, just something to get more damage through. Man, that's brutal. This is brutal for Jason. It's not looking good at all. I think Jason's best bet is to hit the Raptor Vine and then just hopefully chill out and regroup and hopefully do something. Again, I want to point out these mana flowers, they didn't really do much, and he didn't have the mana to do anything, and I think this is like, these sorts of plays are kind of costing him the game in some ways. Granted, they were quote-unquote free. I don't know what to think about them. They're so late. Jason's going to pay that 4 mana for the Force Crush. Will Barkskin get paid? Yes, Barkskin does get paid. I'm not surprised by any of that. Let's take a look at the board here. Drew's going to regenerate 2. Vine Tree regenerates 2. Raptor regenerates 1, putting it at 6. It looks like he's just going to let this Vine Tree heal up. He doesn't want to transfer anything either way. I do like that play. I do think the Vine Snapper should kill it this round. That put him at 34. Oh man, this is rough. Like, there's nothing here that can kill this Vine Snapper. So you have almost a guarantee play here to kill this tree this round. Like, could he have brought him down to 34? 0 armor? 0 armor. 1 armor, sorry. You know, could he have dealt enough damage? I don't know. Looks like Keejchen is going to add a damage to the Vine Tree. Nope. No, he's not. I would almost say he should. He should just let this tree die. He should transfer 1 over, put it up at 11, and then he should just... The Vine Snapper's going to kill it. Just save the 1 damage, you know? Druid is going to cast a Spray of Barbs. It is a Vine attack, so the range goes up. You gotta move 1 closer. Okay. Is he gonna cast it? He might, I don't know. He pays 1 to reveal Hawkeye. Okay, so he's gonna get an extra die. This might actually just kill him. I mean, Jason's at 30 out of 34. He's gonna roll 4 dice. Or 5 dice. Gets 2 damage. It doesn't actually kill him. It does use the Vine here. I'm guessing he just has another one, and then he's just going to kill it right away. Let's see what happens here. This Raptor Vine would kill him, so he chooses to tag it. He rolls 2 on 5 dice. No! That should be a dead Raptor Vine. And then he's going to choose... Oh, jeez. He has to. The Corrosive Orchid play... Because he has to kill this Raptor Vine, otherwise he's dead. It was meant for down here, and we all know it. And we're going to see another Spray of Barbs. There it is, Spray of Barbs all the way across the map. He wants to kill the Samara tree. What a way to kill him. He's going to kill this tree, putting him down to 30 out of 30, or 32 out of 30 life. Killing the tree from a grief-stricken Druid, killing the Druid itself. Wonderful finish there. The infinite range attack spells. Oh my. Love this game. This game was pretty fantastic. Just a great play, honestly. Jason did contact me and he said, "Have you seen the game?" And I said no. And he said, Well, just so you know, turn 2, I did have a Tattery in my hand. And I was like, okay. And he just said to mention it. And I wanted to say it now because the game's over. And it's very interesting because a Tattery would have changed this whole game. I played Samara without Tattery. You have to. But I guess let's talk about this really quick. I don't know why he didn't cast Tattery. I think that was a really bad choice. I would love for him to respond in this YouTube video so that anyone watching this in the future can be like, Jason, what? Yeah, I mean, of course, the reason why I didn't is because it's legendary. But it would have changed the whole game. I mean, honestly, like, not having 2 Tatteries allowed in the game does make it so that if you run Samara and your opponent doesn't, you just kind of lose your whole momentum. So, I mean, let's recap. Samara Tree is bad, and let's talk about that really quick. I do want to point out that Jason didn't have good creatures to follow up. And while Keejchen was just casting these lashers out here, Jason just had to wait. And maybe if he did have Tattery, it would have made a difference. I do still think Mana Shard would have been a decent option. But really, overall, if you have all these Mana Flowers and stuff, why not just cast the Mana Flowers first? Why get the Seething Pod and go through all this other stuff when, like, it's so crucial just to have these creatures out early? And, again, like Samara Tree, I really think you have to have those animal creatures in your book. Just to make it sort of, like, flexible, where you have stuff, like, instantly, Jason says it's meant to be a severe support book, but I can't play severe against vine markers. Oh no. So Keejchen just kind of hard countered it in general by playing Druid. That is harsh. Let's talk about that really quick. I don't like severe because of exactly what happened in this game. It would have still been good because he could have just jumped back and forth and just sort of played it off there. But oh man, Severe. I actually would have liked to have seen Severe get played, to be honest. Because like, what did he have? He had Thorn Lashers. Like, Severe will actually tear those apart. Because he can dodge them, and if Jason if Keejchen chooses to go the wall route, things like Bear Strength, you punch through the wall. You maybe get a weapon just so you can dice do it on average, and then you cast your own like wall just so he can't see through it. Because wall thorns you can't shoot through, but you could just, instead of having the blood spines from Keejchen, just thorn wall it. I was lacking 1 mana. That 1 mana was lacking, I really think, because of the Seething Pods. I mean, he spent 2 mana for it basically to sit, and then eventually turned to Wall of Thorns. I mean, he didn't have the threats out to deal the damage. And granted, his entire economy was messed up, but that just, in a tournament game, you have to have those plan B and C's. Otherwise, like, players will just pick you apart if they unintentionally hard counter it. So interesting there. I would have loved to have seen more attack spells. I would have loved to have seen Severe when he was up here. The Force Crush is great. I didn't know he had another Corrosive Orchid. I would have loved to seen a Corrosive Orchid down here. Like, all in all, Keejchen just does not have offensive power right now. And if you notice, like, these Thorn Lashers, they bullied up on things that had 0 armor. If he would have cast this Vine Snapper here, and then maybe the Corrosive Orchid at some point earlier, like, he would have just torn this zone apart. Like, just straight up. Instead, he spent tons of mana on Force Crush on basically a Druid that would have been, like, stuck in these zones, Let me see what they're saying. You were in perfect position. I can do the Wall of Force combo. I would have thought the Wall of Thorns combo would have been a good way to finish him, too. Please rename the So this game is called Butterfly Effect, and it's very interesting watching this. And I do want to point out that Tattery having that heal option, I've never really considered it before. Like, I have used the healing maybe once, but the fact that it does counter Reclamation makes it. I guess I might put it in my Druid actually. Um, Great game overall. I mean, there's so much to go over there. I could talk about this all day, but ultimately, like this tree being at such low health, I would have loved to have seen a spray of thorns or barbs back, just to take it out. And like, it's funny that he killed him through the tree, but like, really, like this Tanglevine just kind of killed him. I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know. Let's talk about some other things really quick. Mana Flower. Don't like how late that was played. I feel like it didn't help him. I'm not going to look at his book because I'm not sure if Jason wants me to. But I will say that if he had other creatures to play, I would have just played those. The Healing Tree combo, well played by Keejchen. I haven't talked enough about Keejchen. Let's talk about this really quick. Tattery healing him to counter the Reclamation means he gets one net healing still out of this. He didn't actually bother to dispel this, which is very interesting to me. I guess he didn't really need to. The Healing Trees, a very common play you see in Druids, mainly because you're really good at owning zones. So this just gives you that extra oomph you might need to survive. The armor was good. I liked the Hawkeye finish. I mean, overall, I just saw a lot of low dice, lots of healing effects, and some ways Jason kind of died because of lack of armor. You know, he cast Living Armor, but he was already at more than half damage. I guess I would have loved to have seen a Barkskin way earlier. Let that regeneration soak up, and that armor also taking effect against these 0 piercing 3-die attacks. And I think we would have seen a very different game here, just like that one Barkskin. And saying he doesn't have the mana, I really think it's because of Samara Tree. I really think those seedling pods really just kept adding up. And I think I'm going around circles now. But overall, Samara Tree, not good. I'm impressed you try to use it. It can win games, okay? Don't get me wrong. But I really don't see the advantage when ultimately Vine Tree is it's just better, honestly. Unless you're playing against a super passive opponent. Anyway, thank you. I'd love to hear your thoughts about Samara Tree if you have any in the comments. But overall, well played from Keejchen. Keejchen is going to be going to the finals as a championship match contender. And yeah, GG to both players. Jason, always love watching your matches. I hope to see you in the future as well. Keejchen, good luck in the finals, man. This is Koshade signing out.